What's up everybody, welcome back to the channel. First I want to say I appreciate you being here and joining me on this journey that I'm taking with YouTube, where I express my thoughts and feelings behind the brands that are being introduced into the NFT space, more specifically at the moment behind VEVE and the collectible space that VEVE are sort of establishing within the NFT world, within cryptocurrency. And sort of in this video I want to sort of touch upon how I believe them making an agreement or a licensing agreement with DreamWorks Animation is more of a play to bring a younger demographic, to bring children and kids into the NFT space, to bring that younger demographic to sort of establish themselves as sort of that younger collector, bring that younger collector in, so that as that young collector gets older and sort of goes on through life, they remember that sort of thought and feeling they had when they got their first NFT, when they got their first collectible. And basically how, I touched upon this in my previous video within Jurassic Park, how essentially Jurassic Park is owned by Universal, and Universal owns DreamWorks, and how we could see potentially this being a brand that could be introduced and some of their licensing being introduced into VEVE. And seeing them follow here on Twitter, they follow the DreamWorks Animation page, I think we can assume from this stage that this is going beyond speculation, that this is something that we could potentially see in the pipeline, and I think warrants its own video, because I think it's a whole different play to what we've seen so far. And I'm going to explain throughout this video, or try and translate as best I possibly can, my thoughts and feelings behind why I believe this is actually a play to bring a younger demographic into the VEVE application and into the NFT space, and why this is so important moving forward to establish this maturity and this ever-evolving cryptocurrency, NFT, and VEVE sort of marketplace. So the first thing I want to do is I want to bring our attention here to the total gross that DreamWorks have produced. They've gone on to produce over $15 billion worth worldwide as of May of 2019, with a 417.2 million average gross per film. And I think it just says here as well, 15 of their films have actually gone on to be in the top 50 grossing animated films of all time. So, we can further reiterate the magnitude of this kind of deal. They are introducing a humongous deal potentially into this space. And I think, in my opinion, like I said, what I was touching on previously, if you can capture the attention and this sort of if you can capture a child's imagination or children's imagination from a young age and get them familiarized with the NFT space and sort of get them interested in being a part of NFTs and wanting to collect from a young age inside of the NFT space, inside of VEVE application, I think we start to see how this move can develop and how this marketplace can mature. Because when you look at NFTs right now, VEVE have got 250,000 users basically as of the creation of this video. But how many of those users are actually from a younger demographic? For them to capture and bring this whole new audience in, they need to have a juggernaut in the space. They need somebody that knows and understands how to capture the imagination, how to sort of build that brand loyalty, how to get children excited, how to get them involved, and essentially how to get their attention into their films. And there's no better partnership than DreamWorks to do this, because when you establish at a young age a collector, I've collected from a young age. Within Pokemon, I collect Pokemon personally. I also, to be honest, Pokemon trading cards is essentially what I collect. But I also watch the Shrek films. I've had Shrek toys, Shrek plushies, and sort of understanding myself and my own thoughts and feelings as I grew up. These things have translated as I've got older. I still collect Pokemon cards this day. Have I come in and out of it? Yes. But, do I still watch the Shrek films? Yes, I do. Every single year I'll watch Shrek 1, 2, and 3. And I think, in my opinion, it's because they captured my attention from a young age. It was something I was interested in as a kid, and I've got this sort of nostalgia, and which is very important in collecting, by the way, nostalgia, to establish nostalgia. And I think the only way that you can establish nostalgia is really by implementing time. Time has to take place for nostalgia to be born. And so to do that, if you can capture sort of a child's imagination at a young age and get their interest in NFT at a young age, there's going to come a point where nostalgia gets hit and nostalgia comes into play, and where this sort of maturing market I've spoken about before establishes itself within NFTs, within collectibles. And I think bringing a younger demographic is one of the main, or one of the big crucial plays to validate this vision, to validate this dream, and to essentially validate this emerging market. And like I say, there's no better partnership than DreamWorks to do this. They have proven time and time again that they are industry leaders within this space, within the younger audience, and also I think it'd be really cool to see some like Shrek NFTs. I think it's a perfect combination with what we've already seen within the application. We've seen Batman, we've seen sort of Harley Quinn, we've seen Adventure Time, we've seen some Ghostbusters. You know, these are sort of animated films. You know, I know Batman has had other feature films created, but a lot of it has animation tied within it. And seeing this partnership evolve and develop, I think it just goes to show that there's a perfect synergy happening here between not only the collectible itself, but the intention behind the collectible, and how having this younger audience will allow NFTs to have that long-term impact, that long-term sustainability, and really bring more eyeballs, more attention, and more trending, essentially more trending topics and more trending ideas into the space by influencing that younger demographic. So the next thing I want to do is I sort of want to point upon or sort of bring your attention here to some of the films that they've been able to produce and some of the things DreamWorks have introduced. I know this is probably familiar information, but it's important for people that maybe aren't aware to sort of understand what DreamWorks have created. So as you can see from this, we've got Shrek, we've got Shark Tale, Madagascar, Over the Head, Kung Fu Panda, Turbo. I thought, what an incredible film. I love Turbo. How to Train Your Dragon. And just further validating my point I made previously, this is a humongous deal. DreamWorks, if they introduce DreamWorks and introduce these brands, these are household names, these are household brands, and you can be rest assured there is passionate collectors and passionate collectibles or passion-based collectibles that will be introduced into the VEVE application, and it will bring a whole new wave of people into VEVE. And I personally believe this is the play they're trying to make. So what I want to do as well is just bring your attention here to the highest grossing films within the DreamWorks animation. You can see that Shrek actually takes the top 3, and I don't think that's any surprise there. When Shrek was released when I was younger, it was a humongous film. When it was actually first released, it was kind of I actually think its animation was beyond its time. It was kind of a first of. You know, obviously films have been sort of teased around it, but it really did bring a whole new idea and a whole new sort of thoughts and feelings behind what animation can produce. And seeing Shrek sort of establish itself there as sort of that pinpoint within what DreamWorks have created doesn't really surprise me. But you can see Madagascar, Kung Fu Panda, How to Train Your Dragon, and another point I actually kind of want to touch on as well is that I know I've made this sort of reiterated about this point about bringing this younger demographic, but it also sort of introduces the older demographic as well in the form of nostalgia, which I touched on before. Because, you know, I grew up with Shrek, you know, I've grown up with Madagascar, grew up with Kung Fu Panda, and I'm interested in buying the NFTs, you know, I'm interested in purchasing them. This is something that I have memories with, that I have happy thoughts and happy feelings around, and something that I went at a young age. I went to London with my parents. We went to go see the premiere of one of the Shrek films. You know, these are sort of things where I'm like, you know, it establishes itself within my memories, and it's quite a difficult thing to translate into words, but that's what branding is all about, especially in collecting. It's about establishing itself within the memories. You know, where is that emotional tie? Where are those thoughts and feelings? You know, when you can remember where you've been or where you watched it or conversation you've had or happy memories you've had within films, within animation or within anything, it sort of breeds itself as an impactful brand. Because to a brand really, to a brand as a whole is defined, in my opinion, by its ability to capture its audience, to sort of be able to establish itself as an interest beyond just the film, beyond just the collectibles. It has to incorporate thoughts and feelings and memories. And I see DreamWorks doing that. You know, they do that. And this partnership with VEVE will be able to capture that younger audience, will be able to capture that sort of young collector into this space bringing this whole newfound audience, which is incredibly exciting. As you can, I'm passionate about this. I really hope this is something that comes to fruition. And obviously, seeing the Twitter follow, I think it sort of definitely sort of solidifies what we've done before. The introduction to Jurassic Park, the Universal Studios owning DreamWorks, and I think we can probably say this is coming in the pipeline. And sort of what I want to do as well is sort of bring your attention here to the highest grossing animated films of all time. Like I said previously, or at the beginning of this video, we appear 15 times within DreamWorks. So we can see they've got Shrek, they've got Madagascar on here, they've got Kung Fu Panda. And once again, just further validating my point of how humongous this brand is. This is 15 billion in sales cumulatively since May, over 400 million in sales per film. This is an impactful brand. This is something that is well known and an incredibly important idea to be brought into the NFT space, into VEVE. And once again, we have to give props to the owners and have to give props to sort of the head of licensing to be able to bring these deals and bring these sort of huge impactful brands into VEVE. I mean, they are doing some incredible things, and you can be rest assured with deals like this being brought into the space, VEVE will be the pinhead, the driving, the sort of what I would say the establishing himself as the market leaders within NFTs. That is without a doubt. When you bring in brands like this, you're bringing in these kind of names. They are solidifying themselves as the pinpoint, and really, I think, taking on that responsibility of this maturing market and being the one to follow, the one to watch, and the company to admire moving forward into this space. And then sort of just a little bit of a side note, something I thought was quite interesting. DreamWorks also owns a water park, or in the creation of a water park. And I think once again, just solidifying that thing, they are looking to capture the audience, the younger demographic, why this is an important play for VEVE, why I think this is, like I say, this is what DreamWorks is about, capturing the imagination of children. And you can see that just in the names of some of the slides: Swamp and Splash, Speeding Frenzy, which is a Turbo reference. We've got Penguin Plummet. I think there's Kung Fu Panda, Temple of Austin play structure, the Penguin Frozen Fun Zone. Once again, like I said, establishing itself as a younger demographic, wanting to bring their collectibles into VEVE. And like I touched on previously, VEVE have a very user-friendly application that it would make a very easy transition for them to bring their brand over to VEVE, making this a very, very exciting partnership, and something we should be, even though it's still in speculation, we should definitely be fully aware of that this is a humongous play. And if they get this right, this will be something that solidifies VEVE inside of the NFT space, even if it hasn't already done so by now, but really solidifying the space. So, and then finally, what I want to do is I just want to sort of have a little bit of a play around, maybe have a little look at some of the NFTs we could see introduced, get a bit excited about what we might see, what we might want to purchase. We've got Donkey from Shrek, which is a personal favourite of mine. I'd love to purchase a Donkey NFT. That would be really, really cool. One of my favourite quotes from one of the Donkey films is when he's like saying to Shrek, "Well, this is a nice boulder." I just got so, there is just so many parts of that film that captures the imagination, that captures that I remember as a young kid laughing at and really enjoying. So I'd love to own a Donkey NFT. We've got Shrek, Fiona, Gingerbread Man. We've got, Puss in Boots. I was thinking as well, this is a really cool idea. If they brought this in, the scene where Puss in Boots sort of holds his hat with his eyes swelling up, and that kind of sort of cute factor, that'd be a really cool animated NFT to bring in. I think it's one of the parts of the film that we all sort of talk about, or if you've watched Shrek, it's a big part of the character of Puss in Boots. So I think that'd be a really, really cool introduction, and bringing that animated thing that they've done with DeLorean, with the soul, being able to drive the DeLorean, being able to open the doors of the DeLorean, the flashing lights. You could see them being able to achieve something like that with Puss in Boots by animating it. So that'd be really cool. Fairy Godmother, and we'll just scroll through. You can see Prince Charming, Lord Farquaad, and Pinocchio. And then the other one, the last one I want to sort of touch on, and just to summarise this video, I know it's gone on a little bit, but it's quite hard to sort of compress my thoughts and feelings about this into short videos. It's got to be something to be spoken about so I can express myself properly, and I hope you appreciate what I'm bringing across to you. And then, so we've got Madagascar, We've got more Julian Skipper. I've watched Madagascar multiple times, but you know, I'd say for me the biggest one that I'd like to see is Julian. I think Julian's a really cool character within Madagascar. And yeah, so this is just sort of my final thoughts. To summarise this, I think this is a really exciting play. Like I say, it's still speculation at this point, but with them following them on Twitter, I think we can just assume that this is probably something we're going to see in the pipeline. I do think this is a play on bringing a younger demographic into VEVE, into NFTs. And I touched upon earlier about why I believe that's true in the thoughts and feelings and capturing that imagination and essentially allowing their user base to mature within NFTs, to grow up with NFTs so that we can see that longevity moving forward and incorporate nostalgia as well. So I want to say thank you for being watching this video and being with me here and sort of listening to my thoughts and feelings. And yeah, I'll see you in the next video. Thank you again and have a good day. See you later.